I don't want to know what Pacific part it is. For now, I'm just gonna think it's like the blood and stuff. I don't want to think it's anything else because remember she straight up smacked that thing and skewed that guts out. That's so. Oh God. Oh my God. Don't remind me. A funeral was held for Martin and the LCE researchers today. I thought I'd seen more than my fair share of deaths throughout my journey with the sinners, but never before had I witnessed this many people gather in one place to mourn the deceased together. The unfamiliarity made me feel a bit out of place. Am I doing this right? Most of the sinners seemed to be feeling that similar sense of being out of their element as well. Some of them were asking Muzzle, apparently the most knowledgeable of them all when it came to funeral process and etiquette, all manner of questions for pointers. Expressing respect is the primary purpose. Hand placement and gesture are unimportant if that objective can be accomplished. I'm not gonna lie, though, Canto 9, there was a lot of stuff going on. I wasn't as emotional for, Roshu's main part, considering the fact, like I said, there was a lot going on. Didn't take breaks, so it just made it worse for me. I should have took breaks, bro. Then again, I could have known that was gonna happen. Hey, where do I put this? Beneath the dead pillar to the right. Can't any of you quit chattering for 1 second? Have you all forgotten the instruction to carry yourselves within solemn propriety that befits the occasion? Cut me some slack. I haven't been to funerals all that much. I mean, I did tell you to read the manual, and even underlined all the important parts for you. Sorry, Ishi. The wall text was just too much for me. My focus started fizzling out from page 30 onwards. Hadn't every sinner here attended a funeral before? Back when we set foot in that grim manor in T-Court? Ah, those speakers of the funeral held in young Heathcliff's manor? Dost thou know? Dost thou not? Whoops. The one bereft of the dead? Bereft of the dead? I mean, someone had to have died, because there would have been a property dispute big enough to involve the Orphe Association's notarization. Otherwise, I've said this time and again, but it was just an intentional anonymity to prevent family strife. Intentional anonymity, is it? If the situation was indeed as thou sayest, then there was no helping it, forsooth. Yet 'tis a pity that the dead wasn't named at their own funeral. The name of the deceased was Captain's funeral. She was very dear to Heathcliff. I have thoroughly reviewed the past 5 years worth of local newspapers maintaining to the matter, yet no such name relevant to the case was identified, manager. It's fine, Clockhead. At least you remember. That's good enough, innit? It had to be the Golden Bough influence. Somewhere along the way, everyone's memories of the event at Wuthering Heights had become warped. The sinners seemed to think that the Golden Bough had always been there in that manner, and that Nellie was coaxed into stealing it by Herman. Linton, in their minds, was now a grieving brother who had been conducting research for his dead sister's sake. Nobody questioned it. Not Don Quixote, not Faust. Every single sinner believed the twisted version of the memory as if it was a proven fact. Heathcliff and I gave up trying to correct them. Instead, we just check in on each other's memories every now and then. Because if there's something that he and I realized, it was that anything tied to Catherine had already been painted over, every detail gilded and glossed over with the glow of the bow. The point is, how should I put this? The circumstances of the funeral didn't exactly leave us much room to properly express our condolences back then. Between Heathcliff running on a rampage and that Hindley guy bent on interfering with the execution of the will, I assumed that sort of impediment was pretty common stuff for funerals, but apparently not, huh? No, well, I think it's actually rare to see a place that follows proper funeral procedures. I've traveled around quite a bit myself, but I can't confidently say that I've ever been to a legitimate funeral. The one at Wuthering Heights was one of the more proper funerals, if only for pretending to have a process. They at least prepared a coffin and even had a formal reading of the will. It seems funerals are far from being an everyday custom in the city. Funerals are considered a rather extravagant practice here as well. Corporations are not eager to grant time offs just because an irrelevant someone has died. The price of real estate seldom makes it viable to buy land and erect memorial houses on it. Then, what other options do people usually have? We used to just leave them where they died. And after one night's sleep, the bodies were gone, just like that. Better than paying loads of money to bury them somewhere just to have that stir up a load of daft rumors, eh? Rumors? You know, rumors about there being valuables buried with dead bodies, or an arm being some fancy prosthesis. All that, right? Better to let the dead go in peace than to bury them in a grave just for some sods to later discredit. In Hong Yong, people tend to set up graves if they have enough room to spare. Of course, there wasn't a guarantee they wouldn't lose the burial room by the next restructuring day. Hohenheim scoffed and hung his head. A toy's foolishness, all of it. Comforting the soul of the departed? Another mendacity. All those funds so carelessly squandered, all for the purpose of furnishing the living with a fragile excuse to cling on. Are those words from his heart, or just something said to convince himself? Whichever was the truth, I couldn't see the look on his face with his head tucked so low. The funeral didn't last long. It was just a brief moment of silence, followed by a few quick goodbyes that were shorter still. The ceremony came to a close once Alicia, who was still in recovery, came to pay her final respects. The flames devoured the coffins of Martin and the other researchers, announcing the end of their existence with the crackle of firewood. So, I suppose you'll be leaving now. Oh. We're staying until Gregor's stable enough to travel. Dante says we'll remain here until Gregor's condition settles. Ah! Gregor came to his senses again a few days after his unforeseen metamorphosis in the battle against the dumb Nurse-Father. He was given a checkup, and Hohenheim said there is no cause for concern. Physically, that is. His psychological assessment turned up disastrous, to say the least. Gregor was declared unfit for combat deployment for the time being. So you won't be leaving just yet. Good to know. Then, I assume you'll be okay with us borrowing Sinclair for a while. Me? Yeah, that's like an interesting choice. Yes, you. The LCE wants to look into the sign you manifested. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, Sinclair. Yeah, how did I forget that, even though he's my... Actually... Then again, I don't really expect others to expect much from him. So that's why I'm like already used to like saying, what? Why are they taking Sinclair? The higher ups didn't waste a second green lighting the project, which means that what I'm telling you is more of a notice of an investigation than a request for permission. Then again, how long was it when I freaking actually played, you know, Canto 9? Let me check real quick. Maybe like 2 weeks, possibly 3, because you know I do have my like upload schedule way ahead of me when I do my recordings. Huh? What investigation? What are you? It's just a rather rudimentary instance of human experimentation. Experimentation. Calm yourself. Human experimentation? Do you really have to put it like that, boss? Not to worry, Sinclair. A swipe or two on your skin and maybe some talk therapy. That's all there is to it. Of course, if we had your consent, the avenues of research would be vastly... No! I'm not giving you my consent! For your reference, the other departments have also submitted some quite enthusiastic requests for research and observational purposes. Oh, you had no idea. We had to get Boss to fend off the LCA's Mirror World Observatorium department and their hissy fits. They wanted to be the first ones to get their hands on you and spearhead the research, you see. And had we allowed them, they had kept you for a good few months before letting you go. So the least you could do to thank us is be a good boy and cooperate. Ah, just in time. Our researchers are here. Alicia waved at the researchers who were filling out the funeral hall after paying their respects. It wasn't long before Sinclair found himself surrounded on all sides. Wait! I'm perfectly capable of walking down on my own, so just don't run any painful tests on me! Of course. Stay strong, Sinclair. All I could do was to offer an unspoken encouragement to Sinclair, who sounded ready to collapse into a full-blown panic any minute. What about you? You not going with them? Oh, it's back to the long-term recovery ward for me. I always thought scientific research was the one thing that flamed my passion, but with the recent events having introduced me to the merits of paid sick leave, I realized that time off beats research projects in my book, marginally. Enjoy it while it lasts. I highly suspect that every request for PTO submitted by our department will be rejected for the rest of the year. Well, it's true your average corporation doesn't give more than a week off a year. As soon as Alicia trudged off her dragging steps, the researchers seized Sinclair and carried him away. Alright, we should get going too. Oh, do you all have somewhere else to be? Well, and I go visit Gregor. I'm worried about him. Get something I said I hoped with. Gotta be there for it. When I said got something I said I'd hope with. How did I say get? Whatever. I'm going with Sinclair to get some rest. Also to keep an eye on the researchers and stop them if they try anything fishy with the experiments. Let me know later if you need anything, Dante. The centers fanned out in different directions. They seem to have their own errands to run during our stay at the LCE. Everyone's busy with their own thing. Oh my god, they kept the freaking cigarette sounds. Thank you. The only ones keeping me company now were Roshu, who had been filling the air around thick with cigarette smoke, and Don Quixote, who was sniffing and asking around every corner for Vesper, and the valiant quest for the new color fix's whereabouts. Why are you sniffing? Boss was still here, too, staring blankly into the air. Interesting assortment of characters. Is she assessing the Gesellschaft? I don't know how to say it, bro. He seemed to have some time to spare, manager. As I stood there, wondering what I should do next to pass the time, Hohenheim, who had been apparently finished tackling and signing the stack of papers, walked over to me. This makes things rather convenient. There is something I had intended to discuss with you and Senator Roshu, a matter that requires your assistance. I really can see these two as friends, I'm going to be honest. Makes it better too, they have Lily red and blue. The two colors that usually are fighting each other. But this time, they're in the same company on each other's sides. What kind of assistance? WKOA says Clockhead, definitely. Oh wait, no. What kind of situation says Clockhead? She's gonna even abbreviate what we say. Are you serious? Wait a minute. Did Roshu just step in as my interpreter? It's not that I don't appreciate her gesture, especially since she usually snapped at me and tell me to find someone else to interpret whenever the issue came up. But I can't help but doubt whether her choice method of interpretation actually accomplishes anything. There's, I must admit, a certain novelty in witnessing the reconstruction of that which requires interpretation into yet another linguistic form equally demanding of me. Bro, went from one interpretation that needs to be interpreted to another interpretation that needs to be interpreted. Whoa, that was a tongue twister. It would seem we are in need of more manpower. Scratching his head, Hohenheim looked around for a moment before coming to a sudden pause as though an idea had crossed his mind. At the end of his gaze was a certain someone who was busy badgering LCCA employees with relentless questioning. Who else, pray, might know where he is if thou knowst not? Now listen closely. The one I seek is a bearer of hair fashioned at the likeliness of a bull. You there! Why do you join us too? Eh? Dost thou speak of me? The LCCA personnel who were cornered by Don Quixote in her rather forceful interrogation regarding Vespa's whereabouts took the opportunity and fled the scene without so much as a backward glance the moment they kept her turned her head to answer Hohenheim. Indeed, there's a task that requires your assistance. But I have yet more words to trade with the most noble yellow harpoon. You seek to emulate the virtue of chivalry, whatever. Does that entail turning down the earnest plea of those in need? Uh, ah, I, I, For the sake of clarity and distinction, it would be prudent to assign you a different identifier from that of my assistant. You are to be number 2, that is, assistant number 2. I have not yet concluded mine exchange with the yellow harpoon, but no true knight would abandon those who called for aid. Pray, speak thy quest. How may I be of service to thee? Delegating the interpretation of the manager's speech to Senator Number 4 has proven to be counterproductive. As such, your task will be to report to me what the manager says. Oh ho! That is indeed a simple task. However, this WKOA eludeth mine understanding as well. Prithee, allow me but a little time to uncover its mystery. Relay the manager's words, not Cinerosh's. They are asking you what kind of assistance you need. The request for interpretation was not directed to you, but I cannot deny that your meddling in the present circumstance is a welcome one. It was simple that the irrationality and inefficiency of your suboptimal staffing choice and workflow have become sufficiently unbearable. Foss hoped this was not some gloriful, however you say that, scheme devised to elicit Foss' cooperation. In any case, Manager, his request of mine concerns an investigation into the back doors located in the House of Spiders. I deem that the two of you should be the ones most familiar with the structure and layout of the house. After all, you were the one monitoring the entirety of the 5-pronged assault operation. And the Senator's Number 4's familiarity does not bear repeating. Did we go to the House of Spiders right away? House of Spiders right away. You have assisted enough. Perhaps you could help Faust. Sure. Although not word for word, Faust relayed my intention to Hohenheim, who responded by shaking his head. Not immediately, no. There's one more member you should bring along. One more member? Seeing me touching my head, Hohenheim pushed up his glasses. The apprentice who was captured alive in the House of Spiders. Oh, thank you! She's alive! Kira, she has regained consciousness. I actually like... Even though she was the enemy, Kira and Sora were like one of my 2 favorites from the place. Just because they were genuinely nice at times. Sora was mostly the nicest one, because she had no idea what was going on. But now she's literally gone from existence. And so now we got Kira, who just survived from getting cut. Rest in peace, Sora. You will be missed. Well, by me. I don't know by others. But I feel like there will be other people out there that also miss you. The place Hohenheim led us to looked less like a recovery ward and more like an interrogation chamber. Though every single medical equipment installed around seemed to be state of the art. This place looks well equipped. Probably a direct order from upper management. Although technologies to restore lost body parts are common enough in the city, a facility of this kind is required to preserve the original form of the lower body in the reconstruction process while keeping the cost reasonable. Reasonable, huh? Do I want to ask how expensive the other options are if this counts as reasonable? A windowless room thick with the sharp scent of medicine and chemicals. Kira was sitting on the bed at the center of the room, kicking her feet as she regarded us. For someone recovering from bisection, she didn't look much different from how she had appeared when I seen her through the Center's shared vision. God dang. That is one heck of a scar, I say so. She was captured alive for the extraction of information, yes? How far along is the progress of extraction? It hasn't yet begun, actually. We are waiting until the lines of information that warrant questioning can be isolated. So far, all available personnel have been fully engaged in analyzing the documents and items discovered in the House of Spiders. Then what are you even doing here? There is work to be done contingent upon information obtainable only from recent inhabitants of the house's writers. And following a discussion with the upper management, I decided to put you to use as the company had originally intended. No TV, no comic books, just a super prickly glare and a cold shoulder whenever I ask for something to pass the time. And now you suddenly need my help, huh? Give me one reason I should cooperate. Hohenheim didn't so much as twitch an eyebrow at Kira's biting tone. He merely gave her a nod with a steely, imperturbable expression. I didn't ask for your help. Put you to use, I believe, is what I said. What? Your survival is not incidental. It is the result of the calculation. The company anticipates a potential profit by keeping you alive. Expected gain, as the term goes. Without such a forecast on the company's part, you should have already been disposed of. The upper management consists of people who would be disciplined to tolerate the daily maintenance and depreciation costs of this room, even at half their current numbers. Which brings us to our next point. Should you insist on maintaining this uncooperative attitude, the company may decide to convene a meeting to reassess your worth, or shall we say, lack thereof, in its projected income statement. Well, suffice to say that such a reassessment would skew heavily against your favor. The outcome would be a recommendation for immediate disposal. Hohenheim always had a way of words that could twinkle and sting. But with Kira, it almost felt as if he did the usual thorn off for a sharper knife, intent on twisting it right where it hurt. I'm dead meat as soon as my usefulness runs out anyway. Not like you're gonna let me live after I killed a bazillion of your guys. So you anticipated some form of a corporate level retaliatory response against your person. That is indeed a curious line of reasoning. Then I must tell you that, unlike your typical backstreet syndicates such as the Middle, corporate entities of the city tend to avoid trusts that may incur losses. The value of the information that could be extracted from it depends of the Middle, and the combat process honed under the tutelage of a great brother of the Middle. These two considerations are likely what increased your value in the eyes of the company. Ha! Y'all got zero self-respect, huh? You should consider yourself fortunate. Huh? The heck are you on about? Yeah, sorry. Other companies will not solicit your cooperation by means of a verbal exchange. Your interrogator would simply open your cranium, harvest your brain, and extract any and all necessary information without going through immediate steps such as this. Even without resorting to such methods, the range of available means to compel the disclosure of information is practically limitless. Truth serums, hypnotic suggestions, electrical shocks, and stimulations, and of course, procedures utilizing distortions and abnormalities. That being said, the LCE department prefers to distance itself from such uncivilized approaches that may entail complications and after effects. It's like, the fuck? I do hope that we share a similar predilection. You're so freaking annoying, you know that, mister? The feeling is entirely mutual. Hey, you might like Dante. He mostly has no idea what's going on at times. And then again, man is usually nice out of nowhere. Leaving the biting chill of his threats to sink in, Hohenheim turned toward the exit. Give her some push and bring her along. I don't quite seem to be myself today. No, disregard that. That too was a rather foolish thing to say. I would defer this matter to you, manager. Work of this sort likely falls more within your capabilities than my own. Yeah, he literally has to manage 12 different people with 12 distinct freaking personalities. He should know how to deal with an extra one. That was a compliment. That was not a complaint, that was a compliment. I know it sounded like a complaint, but it was a compliment. And with that, Hohenheim stepped out of the room, leaving me to deal with Kira. I just realized, we need someone to translate for us anyway. 3 of them, one uses acronyms, one is literally speaking in a whole different dialect of speech. No, that doesn't make sense. Speech pattern. different speech pattern. There we go. And one that's just makes it sound way smarter than it should be. His reaction was understandable. The LCE had only just finished laying its dead researchers to rest. Kira was probably the last person anyone would want to face right now, much less speak to. What should I even say to persuade her? Oh, I was still caught in thought when someone quite unexpectedly made her way to Kira. Yoshihide? Oh shit. I can't, I'm American, dude. I don't know how to say these. You shouldn't expect much from me. Heard you got stabbed in the back by Matthias. That's not true. Papa wasn't landing a fatal blow unless he cut through me too. That's why he did exactly that. To aim for the enemy's head. Besides, he made the right choice. A little sacrifice ain't a thing in the family. Ha! Family. Coming from him. A middle mutt thrown out of his kennel. Doesn't it sound ridiculous even to you? That's thrown out. Dang, I almost said the extra part. That fucker Matthias was a GB only by technicality. Oh, great brother. He fucked up badly. He was still family by name, but underneath it, everyone hoped he disappeared quietly on his own. He was that family member nobody wanted around. Same treatment for me, being his brat. Not surprising it's the ST for the ball cut too. Same thing? Same thing. Same taste? Huh, young Yoshu. Could it be that thou also dost harbor a passionate zeal for a fix? I quickly clapped a hand over Don Quixote's mouth as she smoothly chimed into the conversation. So what exactly is your point? The point is you're taking too long. If you can't decide whether you want to live or die, I can shorten the hesitation. CQ? Well, I'll slice your neck clean, I'm guessing, right this instant. But what is CQ? I don't know. What does that mean? Oh, cooperate quietly. I guess I should. Or I'll snap your neck completely right this instant. Oh, snap your neck completely. Okay. I like the slicing part better, but okay. SYNC isn't such a bad way to go if you're keen on taking that loyalty act straight to the grave. This is so crappy. Whatever, I get it, okay? I'll talk if that's what you want so bad. That actually worked. Fixers who go out in a blaze of glory aren't actually the strong ones. It's the ones who survive. The ones who live to see another day and keep getting stronger. Anyway, Yoshihide. What's up with you talking in weird-ass abbreviations? Like, SYNC? That's so random. Who even says that? Roshu didn't bother to reply and simply chewed on the mouth end of his cigarette. Chewed? Was this really the right call? To her, we're probably people who she needs to settle the score with. As if. Half her tattoos are gone, cluck. They even confiscated her book. You think the middle sorry excuse for loyalty means so much for this stray that she bite us? Besides. No. Better hear from her instead. Hey. Tell me why Matthias kicked the bucket. That's cause Papa was weaker than y'all. Ah, okay, I think... Yeah, you're the jerk's brat, alright? Kira pushed herself up from the bed with a sour face, but at least she didn't argue back. And we called Hohenheim, who had been waiting outside, back in. I assumed the prisoner was successfully persuaded. Come, you'll find your weapon on the table. You may use it in the event of an emergency. What the hell? I can't even unsheath it. Ah, you won't be able to use it without authorization. The code has been decidedly adjusted. Now then, let us head to the House of Spiders at once. The back door is up and waiting for us. Is there a reason... We made our way to the House of Spiders, with Kira trailing behind us, looking like she was smelling something particularly fishy on us. I might have to switch fast to the ring one. Because I used that fast just to help out Ye Sang. Yeah, I'm gonna switch it out. Because that's if it's just those three that's gonna be on the team. Never mind, there's still the others.
오키. 이럴 것 같아서 대기 타고
걸맞는 곳이래.
Oh,
부름이라면
come on.
전시 준비는
부름이라면 기쁘게 나서죠. 반드시 팬다.
I was already preparing for but I forgot that Dante can also do that one thing. Only a few days had passed since our last visit, but the place looked markedly different from what we remembered. Sight of the hollow, frigid atmosphere and the endless stretch of corridors had it changed. The Callisto's so-called artworks were now covered in the white sheets, and unfamiliar devices were fixed all around the back doors. Prithee, who might those people theater be? What the? Looks like some shady bastards moved in already. Our guarded reaction prompted Hohenheim to step forward and gesture to one of the oddly dressed figures. Since introductions are in order for both sides. This is team leader Alan from Wayfarer Company, who will be working with us on the investigation into the house's back doors. Wayfarer Company? A corporation entity partnered with Nimbus Company, two companies, responsible for providing portal technology, and has on prior occasion been referred to as the new or aspirant W Corp, though the name is an unofficial one. Our employees also have taken to calling you the new L Corp. Makes sense. Something we have in common, given that we're both chasing after the same horizon. Ah, I remember. The company vying to take W Corp's place, right? The same horizon. It's probably talking about getting recognized as a wing. After all, the old L Corp has already fallen, while W Corp, from what I've heard, is free-falling at this point. And these are the manager and the sinners of the LCB department, our field operations unit, frequently deployed to deal with on-site matters firsthand. They have more personnel, but the rest are tied up with other duties elsewhere. Only a handful will be joining this investigation effort. I understand. Field operation units are almost always understaffed anyway. The support you've provided is more than sufficient. Whoa! Alan gave an understanding nod. The man slipped off his bulky helmet before extending his hand in greeting. Pleased to make your acquaintance. The name's Alan, leader of Door Breach Team 4. Likewise. Before Foss could even relay my reciprocal greeting, words spilled out of Alan's mouth in a strangely uneven rhythm, as if my ticking didn't bother him at all, like he was sticking to a script he had rehearsed. I've heard great things about you, Manager Dante of Nimbus Company, and the bus team's performance. You capitalize on the suppression of distortions at T-Corp as leverage to push your products, and the profits were nothing short of staggering, I heard. Oh yeah, we're supposed to be distortion resolving specialists to the public. But what's that product part about? The manager says it was merely a matter of luck. They also look forward to working with you on this task. Oh, are you the interpreter? In that case, I'll be sure to consult the manager only when both of you are available. Sure. Foss didn't seem particularly pleased with the role Alan had pinned on her, but she nodded anyway. Foss, you're like the best option out of Don, Quixote, and Ryoshu. She quietly came to my side and answered my earlier question while Alan carried on with Hohenheim. He's referring to the monolith sales project. The credit was attributed to the LCB at the express request of Mr. Herbert, T-Corp's executive director. Oh, so that's how the rumors spread. Huh. We've reviewed the agreements. Now, I understand you'll be assisting in verifying what lies beyond the back doors. I'd appreciate it if you could share any prior knowledge you have about where these back doors connect, as detailed as you can make them, if you don't mind. Hohenheim fixed Kira with a pointed look. Though Kira responded by defiantly cocking her head in a show of irritation, she still gave up a sliver of the information she had. Honestly, I got pretty much nothing if it's about Robo-Unk and his room. Robo-Unk. Robo-Unk! Yo, I mean, I've seen Albina, whoops, how did I say Albina? Albina hit up that door and the other one over there when she was popping out to farm stuff, but... Farm? Oh, it's a gathering material. I see. What kind of material? Human guts and all that. She come back holding piles of them. So they're probably connected to some backstreets area. Backstreets? Any more details? Can you stop prying? You're low-key pissing me off. Ah, yes. This speech. Oh. What? That's literally all I've got. For real. For a moment, Alan leveled Kira with a stiff expression. And even before I could register what had happened, Kira's head jerked to the side from a sudden punch by Alan. Ugh! I thought Kira was nimble enough to dodge a surprise attack easily, but this one seemed to have caught her completely off guard. She stood there blinking, eyes round in rude surprise. Actually, it wasn't that he caught her off guard. It was the motion of the punch itself that somehow felt off. The fist being raised and the arm being extended. The blow making contact, the chain of action was there, but it just didn't look normal. Did you just hit me? What the hell is wrong with... As Kira reeled from the unexpected strike, Don Quixote spoke up in a cold, sharp tone. "Thou, what manner of discourtesy is this? Ah!" For all that whining, I thought the bat could use a lesson to remind her of her place. I had no intention of damaging your company's asset, of course, and simply assumed the level of warning would not be inappropriate in this case. Talking the shit out of someone? Okay. Then again, this is the city. Team Leader Allen. That sort of conduct may not be an issue in your organization, but it is here. Should it happen again, do understand that we may choose to terminate today's joint engagement without delay. Okay, never mind. At least he also did his job. My apologies. I will keep that in mind going forward. Alan sat down without arguing back, but Kira looked far from satisfied with how Hohenheim handled the situation. Guess to sock me in the face and walk off scot-free? So freaking annoying. Fortunately enough, her grumbling didn't escalate into lashing out at Alan. That puncher's now though. What was that? Exhibited a behavior that defied the standard laws of physics. Presumably a form of technology utilized by a wayfarer company. Let us resume the task at hand. Intervallo, give Team Leader Alan whatever information you have. That door should lead to one of the ring-protected turfs. The other two on the left. I remember they were marked with an X painted with blood. But H and I, where they actually lead, is all blurry. It seems that all the information we can provide. Will that suffice? We now know that the doors likely connect to a perceivable area. That's already a big improvement in terms of intel for Wayfarer Company's backdoor mapping progress. Which means there's less chance of us encountering a space beyond human perception past those doors. Alright then, I'll proceed with connection verification. Which door shall we test first? We start with the one Intervallo mentioned. Ha! You don't trust me at all, huh? Then why even bring me along? Ignoring Kira's jab, Alan began setting up various devices on the door, and soon an elegant white door opened before us. Shall we? Arthur Dahl joining us as well, young Hohenheim? Just this once. There are procedures for handling over field operations. Okay, let's see what's in there. What the? Is this some kind of wildlife exhibit? The one we... What? What is this? A gorilla, but not a normal gorilla. The moment we stepped in, the lights hit us all at once, drawing squints and frowns from the sinners. Thanks to my lack of physical eyes, I could make out a room filled with statues or perhaps taxidermied animals. It felt like a gallery of sorts, but it was so quiet that the air itself seemed to carry a strange, somber weight. After a moment, someone shattered the silence, but it was Don Quixote, our usual suspect. Holy shit! The scale is just insane! That's the whale from 8 Association Great Lake, special issue! Kira, who seemed beaten down all along, exclaimed with a bit more energy in her voice. Man, seeing it in real life sure is different. And the Indigo Elder solo one-shots these monsters with that harpoon of his, huh? It's a Great Lake whale, doesn't look like one we've encountered, though. Well, the pallid whales was like been there for a while. Also, what am I pulling at? Hold on, guys. What is this? Whatever this is, it should not be like that. I'll just not mess with it. Why am I even messing with it? I'm not even white and I'm doing white people stuff. Organisms of various sources can be identified here. Singularity modified. Outskirts born. They look almost alive. They're not, right? No, they're not alive. But, duh. The Robo-Unk did say that the ring has these zoos where they put monsters on display alive. Man, this would have been way more fun if we could see the moving ones. Everything here is dead. Meh, still looks crazy sick though. The vibe really hits. Man, that manner of speech is already infecting me. Even though she was trying to play it cool, Kira kept sneaking glances at the massive horn display off to the side, clearly surprised in a way she couldn't hide. That said, I found a distinct shortage of hyperactivity, given the presence of a certain someone in our party. Don Quixote? The eye of a second kindred, of House Tepes. What is it doing here? At the mention of the word kindred, I couldn't help but follow Don Quixote's gaze. Opposite the whale was another kind of exhibit, containing items leaning on the more gruesome side of things, starting with a crimson eyeball that caught Don Quixote's attention, and body parts like hands and bones that looked as though they had been stripped from the human body. It's a gallery. The school of Fauvism, probably a main studio at that, which comes with a maestro's atelier and an auction house. Ellen. We'll be making our exit shortly. Prepare to initiate lockdown sequence. Before Hohenheim could even finish its urgent transmission, numerous footsteps closed in from somewhere nearby. Oh my god! Finally I get to see these guys. It took me too long to get here. Turning toward the sound of shoes. Mind you, I got the freaking Ring Favis Rodian. First time. When I first played this game, bro, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. We found strange figures wearing animal masks, staring directly at us. You know what, when I say first time or when I first played this, you already know it's not even sharding stuff, because you cannot get good amount of shards in like literally your lower levels. Oh, she don't look happy. That presence is kinda like Papa's. Ain't no way. That's not a raid boss we can clear on our level. We gotta get out of here. It's not that simple. Retreating is not a viable solution here. This door is connected to the House of Spiders. Escaping without installing a security system will invite pursuit. We must stall them until Alan is ready to initiate the lockdown sequence. As tension thickened, one of the strangers who wore a peculiar bone mask stepped forward. The voice that spoke to us carried equal part curiosity and delight. We came through that door. Then the house's fall wasn't just a baseless rumor. A stray little spiderling fallen from her parents' web. How many years has it been? You. Who are you? Ah, right. It makes sense that you would fail to recognize me. I used to wear a different mask back then, when I used to visit as your tutor, didn't I? A wolf, if my memory serves right. Yes, that must have been when I was quite captivated by the sensation of tearing into the raw, still thrashing flesh of living prey, and the predator's ferocious yet cavernous, resonant howling. Rings a bell. You're that maestro whose whole lesson was a 3-hour sermon praising the intensity of primary colors and the strength of living creatures. But no, what? How do you, what is this? I have never seen this before. Benoit? Is that how you say that? Was it? That's right. Amelie Benoit. And they say you can't hatch a phoenix from a chicken's egg. Doesn't always apply, I see. Looks like that mind of yours is still as sly as a raven, unlike your nurse fathers. Tush. Don't presume. Ooh, excuse me. I only remember you because the tactility of heart and guts made for a passable AW. At first glance, it looked like Roshu was casually taking a trip down memory lane with the maestro, but I had a feeling she was, in fact, dragging this out on purpose to buy us time. That lockdown sequence thing, how much longer till it's ready? Young Hohenheim, the lockdown sequence. Don Quixote had been shooting the ring members as it incensed the glare sparked by the discovery of the kindred's eye, swiftly relayed my words to Hohenheim without even a hint of her earlier shenanigans. I'm not surprised she's angry, like I said, because, you know, literally one of the parts of her freaking kind. I'm afraid the progress and speed of the lockdown secret lies in Alan's hands, not mine. It is by its nature a time-consuming work, and we cannot expect haste. Perhaps that does make this a suitable juncture to trial Plan A. Plan A? Any suggestions that involve Don Quixote removing his shoes will not be dignified with a serious discussion. Instead, maybe what Hohenheim had in mind had nothing to do with Don Quixote's shoes, because he opened his mouth as though he was about to retort to Faust's categorical rejection. But the moment he followed Faust's eyes and saw that what she was looking at, he quietly shut his mouth and said nothing further. Faith and potentiality is not something I dislike. As for this, however, it seems more like a grasping at straws. At the end of their gaze was Roshu's blade. Araya Shiki. I was going to try using it anyway. I've long waited to see if a maestro's death is any different. Telling her that we were just leaving won't work, will it? No, it won't. Every individual present here would be quite the fascinating specimen to the artists of the ring. We are practically a windfall of inspiration and material that was so conveniently been delivered to them. It's improbable that they will allow us to return unharmed. Faust is right. She and Hohenheim are geniuses, and Roshu is the wielder of Araya Shiki. Don Quixote is a kindred of a higher generation, and I happen to house a golden bow in my head. I have no idea how much information the ring has on us, but even if they knew nothing, they wouldn't let us go easily. Are you sure about this, Roshu? Doesn't matter if I'm a SAT or not, Clock. Think of that woman as Lei Hang, and do as you did in HC's mansion. I'll take care of the rest. Right, that's probably our best shot. What Roshu meant was clear, quite clear. Resonate with the golden bow, secure it in branches to fight on equal footing, then catch them off guard by slowing down the flow of time. A cut from the Arashiki, even if it doesn't give us a real fighting chance, might at least stall the maestro long enough to give us the time to get away. This floor of the exhibit only houses submissions from the students and docents, but if you look closely enough, there's some passable ones that show the promise of excellence. And above all, this is the gallery of the School of Fafism, and mine, the gallery of Emile Benoit, which is why I would have preferred to take you without any unnecessary fight possible. A shame. Still, we're talking about a unique relic here, a masterless one at that. Playing the Ayashiki makes it worth the cost. If you want a taste. She can't draw candy, she... Confusion flickered across Roshu's face as she tried to unsheath her blade. What's the matter? How? The rock of the House of Spiders used to bind the Arashiki no longer exists, so why? Why can't I draw the blade? Now that's unexpected. So the rumor of you mastering that relic, were they false? The maestro only gave a loose swing of her arm. but it was enough to make Ryoshu recoil. A shadow of surprise crossed her face. The wound looked like nothing more than a light gash, yet the maestro's contemplative gaze shifted between the blood on Ryoshu's arm and her own as though the attack had been an experiment to prove a hypothesis. It wasn't hard to guess what she was thinking. Noticed, did you? I had my doubts from the moment I saw you today. Is the House of Spiders a success or a failure? Tell me, Yoshihide. What do you think a serpent's defining strength is? What are you on about? Now, oops, I forgot now. Ask any student and they'll give the same predictable answers. The deadly venom, the sleek scales. Why is lamentably disappointing? The maestro advanced toward us with an assured certainty, then seized a bead thread dangling from the ceiling. No, calling it a mere thread would be wrong. It was something that resembled a thread, yet felt much more disturbing. I, for one, have a particular liking for the jaw and the spine. The flexibility of the spine, linked like a chain, and the jaw, bound not by bone, but by ligaments, allowed the animal to swallow its prey whole. Perhaps I should have said that I admired their structural refinement. The thrice-called ring on her finger gave off a cold glint, and the walls and the ceiling suddenly began to echo with the sickening squelch and crack of flesh and bones assembling. What the hell is that? Which brings me to ask, what better way to claim this delivery of promising material with a single bite than a work of art fashioned from a snake? The maestro plunged her arm into the long, serpentine body of a monster. Her sheer presence radiated pressure as oppressive as that of the nurse monitors, only more primal and untempered. Consider it a privilege. This is the first time this piece has ever been exhibited to an outsider. Hohenheim, is the lockdown sequence still not ready? 1 minute to go. Step aside. The attack from the ego gear Hohenheim hastily brandished didn't even last a moment. The weapon was knocked from his hand. As I scrambled to equip the sinners with their identities, something abruptly stopped the beast-like appendage midway through its hurtling motion, and the one who intercepted the blow. Shit. Was Kira, struggling to push back against the serpentine arm with her still sealed blades. Kira! Did she suddenly have a change of heart I wasn't aware of? Shit! This wasn't the plan at all! Obviously not. She couldn't have changed her mind that quickly. Because the look on her face couldn't be anything other than that of utter regret. The middle, For someone who doesn't seem to be a proper member, you inked quite the quantity of tattoos onto yourself. Aha! It must be the new kit Matthias took in. Why do you stand in my way? Fucked if I know. I'm already regretting it, alright? Damn it. They're definitely gonna dish me here. Why did I even... Must be instinct taking over. Couldn't fully shake out the opponent's killing intent, so the body chose to clash head on. So the behavioral facet of the psyche can be controlled with suitable training. Unexpected data, but useful to be sure. Shut it, mister! Quit yapping and let me use my blades! Authorized and ready. Lifting locks, now! Kira's thermal weapons emerged from their sheaths with a metallic clang. She used the recoil of the motion to skid back and assume a defensive stance. Naturally, that broke Benoit's arm from the deadlock as well. The maestro lashed out again with that monstrous limb, but... Huh? 'Tis a foul injustice to strike against the unprepared opponents in a duel! Behold, for I shall allow thee a glimpse of the badass form that only the most renowned of fixers have displayed through the ages. Seeing an opening, Don Quixote slammed into the arm with her full might, knocking it off its trajectory. Predictably, however, the sheer force of the maestro's attack instantly reduced it to a red sludge of flesh and bone, sending her remains crashing into the door. Ready to initiate lockdown sequence. I will seal the door immediately upon your exit. Everyone to the door. Foss, retrieve the organic remnants of Sinner number 3. As Foss made her exit with what was once Don Quixote and the students of the ring surrounded Kira, barring her way out. A hollow chuckle slipped out of her lips. Haha, called it for real. This is exactly why I didn't want to get involved. Taking Kira back with us would mean having a sizable force of the ring trail right behind her, through the door. Kira, too, seemed to have realized the risk than the one their mind would want to take. She lowered her head in defeat, as though she knew full well that the fate that awaited her. I'm such a dumbass. What was I thinking, diving in like that? You, don't just stand there. Get over here now. Huh? But these guys are gonna come flooding in if I... You, TTM, want to get cleaved in half again? You pin this on me later. You're gonna pay. Blocking the maestro's arm by her hair as it came down on her again, Kira hurled herself toward the door with every bit of strength she could muster. More than a few sinners rushed into the doorway, chasing after the sinners who had gone in ahead, but lockdown sequence complete. All backdoor links have been cut. Fortunately, Alan managed to sever the connection between the two back doors before the maestro could cross over. Bullcut. Think you can still use your arms? I'm fine. So she says. Cause Kira would be a strong enough addition to fight for us, but the ring members that have managed to crash formed a rather sizable force. Fighting him off with just the sinners I have on my side would not be the best course of action. In that case, guys, I assume you're all available right now? As soon as I call out to the sinners, their voices come through Hohenheim's radio one after another. Huh? I guess so? Ready for your order, Executive Manager. I, Otis, am prepared to answer your call whenever and where. Eh? Hang on, I just need to finish this bite. She's like, frick it. Everyone to me! No wonder why it was not limited. He already had to do that. Probably then again, having a very big force go after you is like, yeah, you're going to have to fight with numbers as well. Yo! There's two Kiras on the battlefield. Hey, you. Yeah, look at it. Slightly weaker, but still as decent as the original. Of course. Yeah. Oh. No. Oh, 6 damage. It's not that bad. That's the original Kira. There she is. Dang, everyone got their attack in butt fast. Okay, why is one? What the heck? I'm not gonna question it. Go. Forget, we need that. Fink. Mink. Oh, staggered. Sit your ass down, bitch. I had to, just because it was just perfect. I see you struggling. Damn. How you feel that, bruh? Oh! 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 I don't know why you decided to do a counter-attack. You shouldn't have done that. Struggling is insane. Fake it. I'd rather have that go than, you know.
아이씨, 짜증나게.
Oh, that was some bad luck. That was some really bad luck. But that was some really good luck for the evade.
결정.
I'm not surprised.
좋아해. 기령에게 불확실한 것은 압도적인 전략.
Look at that.
가끔
Dominating
지루하긴
now.
했지만 역시 늘 먹던 맛에서만 느껴지는 도파민이 있다니까.
지령에 따라 참격.
자,
우두께서도 저런 위험을 보이시며 배워야 할 것을 갈 때가 있었지요.
과거는 과거일 뿐이지 본국 제일검조차 아니었던 내게 자랑할 만한 우영이 뭐 있다고.
Dang, Foss. Oh, I think it's over, y'all. Oh god, that lag.
반듯한 일격이었어. 실로 군더더기였군. 이 순간이 닿아도록 베어내.
Insane luck.
낮도 밤도 지우어 숨이 닿아도록 베어냈군. 귀하들이라면 능히 이길 것이라는
Just seeing two freaking. Just seeing two minimal impetuses, Kira and Ishmael. It's only the first door, and the impediments are already beyond expected levels. I swear, I thought that was it for me back there. Events of this nature, I won't be frequent. We were merely beset by ill luck. If you just listened to me and picked another door, we wouldn't have gotten cooked like that in the first place. Like, why even drag me into this if you weren't gonna trust me, weirdos? Would have opened them all at the end of the day. SD. SD? What's that? Same difference. Again, why shorten it like that? Just say duh or something. Or just spell it out and say it was anticipated. That's WA. Ha! Good work, everyone. Wayfarer does have a team dedicated to this sort of task, but the mortality rate is quite high. Honestly, I was bracing myself for the worst. The odds of completing the first door of an expedition without any casualties are under 15%. This, by all measures, counts as a flawless expedition. Tapping away at his device, Alan addressed us with an amicable smile. He seemed totally different from the same man who had manhandled Kira with a fist to her face. Those fathers won't be able to cross over anymore with the door completely locked down, right? That cannot be asserted with certainty. Are you saying more might come? The corridors and back doors have always been the ring's turf clock. And those father's beasts have endured as long as a long-standing faction within the ring. They got that much history. They must know many back doors, both the origin and destination points. Alan clarified what Roshu was hinting at. Yes, compared to them, we lack sufficient knowledge of alternate routes, which makes it difficult to prevent infiltration. No need to concern yourselves over much. And if that were the case, it was unlikely they would move on the House of Spiders so soon. They could always rush for a surprise attack though. Even that father's maestro seemed to lack clear intel on the event that took place at the House of Spiders. If so, it follows that they will need time to assess and deliberate about the situation. The situation? The logical scope of their concerns will be identifying the organization that has secured the House of Spiders, the possibility of additional traps beyond their back doors, and the like. Once all backdoor-related procedures tied to the House of Spiders are completed, the resulting security framework would be able to preempt and block any infiltration attempts. This operation is more important than I thought. That aside, why couldn't I draw the blade? Is it the new scabbard's fault? Ryoshu lifted the sheathed sword with an irritated frown, and that's when I felt a faint vibration. The blade was twitching ever so slightly. That quivering was faint. 'Twas seen by all, indeed. Damn, I saw it too! Is it possessed or something? Looks like I wasn't the only one who saw the sword twitching, as though it wasn't pleased at all with how Ryoshu was talking about the scabbard. Ryoshu's gaze lingered on the sword before slowly shifting toward the back doors. Could it be that seeing the scabbard brought back some memory of Araya? Ryoshu, do you? Is it an SS? A demon edge? An enchanted blade? Which is it? It's probably neither of those. Nor is it a sentient sword. This presents a fine opportunity to conduct another examination of the sword. Excuse us for a moment, Team Leader Allen. Please feel free to go ahead. The attack does now damage some devices, so we're going to have to perform some maintenance before continuing. There's plenty of other work for me to do while you're away too. Are we to return to the headquarters research facility then? No, that won't be necessary. It's a facility here that should prove more than adequate. I'm always so used to talking for this non-voiced parts. Don't like doing it, but I don't mind. Because, you know, I can't speak right. Hohenheim brought us to what looked like a research lab, lined with cables, rows of screens, and diagrams full of complex symbols and shapes. I didn't know there was a place like this in the House of Spiders. This is a forward base constructed by Limbus Company following Operation Spider prior. Excuse me. It did not exist prior to the house's fall. It is intended for additional backdoor investigation and research into irregular phenomena observed during the operation. Irregular phenomena? An example. Research subjects such as a spatial analysis of the correlation between the emergence of Cinder number 11's sign and the manifestation of possible future. Oh. Looking around, I spotted Sinclair and a group of researchers surrounding him, the same people who dragged him off earlier. They were accompanied by a gaggle of Cinders who had tagged along to either watch the show or kill some time while they took a breather after work. Hohenheim, how long will the examination take? With Sinclair's biometric assessment concluded, the analyzer device should be available for the relic now, which means that it should be finished in an hour from now, at the latest. The scabbard rattled again at the mention of an hour. I don't know why, or how, but the way it swayed almost felt like a child trembling. It's moving again. Come along, Ryoshu. I expect you will want to witness the procedure. Fine. Ryoshu and Hohenheim headed off to decide. The examination was probably going to start immediately. Time to get to Sinclair then. Wait. I was making my way towards Sinclair, who was getting bombarded with questions when an unexpected figure behind a pillar caught my eye. It was Vespa Crabro, with a big piece of paper covered in crooked handwriting taped on his back. I still can't believe that the dude's name is linked from a freaking wasp, I think? Yeah, some type of wasp. Snack thief? Ah, manager. Talon snacks. Mr. String Bean ate up all of them. Sorry, but I think there's been some misunderstanding. Verge, kick his ass. Not only is this matter not worth pointing fingers over, but Karen also shares some of the responsibility for leaving them out on the table unattended. Still, I would prefer you exercise more care next time, or you'll put me in a tough spot. Understood. Karen, Super Sulky mode engaged. Not talking for half a day. Deploying Super Pass Bitter Candy. Beep beep. Mode disabled. What in the world is going on? I'm not sure if this is an appropriate request, but may I remove the paper from my back now? It's a little inconvenient for me. Karen forgives this time. Next time, no mercy. Best make sure she doesn't listen to that radio channel again. Vergilius looked on with a freak. I keep forgetting it's Verg. So I got it. Whatever. Looked on with an inscrutable expression as Karen peeled the snack thief sign off Vespa's back. Make sure to remember this, so I don't have to think I'm burning through what little candy chance I have left on such trivial nonsense. Thank you. Vespa gave a polite thanks, but he was already picking something off another plate and stuffing it into his mouth. Wait a minute. I was saving that for later. I assumed you were being picky. Well, now you know. Yeah, I still see you gobbling up my share. Ugh, you took my snack too, Berg. Kick his ass. Rodion Romanovich. Is that her last name? I'm aware that half of the total snack budget allocated to each center is being funneled into your snacking expenses, and now you're raiding the LCE's supplies as well? Chill, that's totally been agreed upon, okay? Besides, that's that, and this is this. The lines of Vergilia's brow looked deeper than usual today. Hoping to help him out of this endless cycle of snack-related headaches and to satisfy my own nagging curiosity, I drew near our guide and broke his brooding silence with my TikToks. Did we learn anything about Sinclair's sign? Dante is inquiring about the outcome of the research on the sign. I've heard from the researchers, but nothing of particular significance came out of it. Observation of the sign has so far been limited to 2 individuals, the manager and Sinclair, due to the limited accessibility to the phenomenon. The only verifiable information has so far been its existence. Researching that which cannot be observed is bound to be difficult. Fox has a point. Aside from Sinclair, none of the centers can actually see the sign. The same would go for the researchers. Even Sonya said only a select few people could perceive it. If there were more individuals bearing signs, there would be a wider pool for comparative analysis of statistical samples to narrow down the scope. However, records indicate no suitable reference exists. At present, the research effort is limited to reducing variables such as whether or not the irregular phenomena are tied to the location where the battle took place. By individuals bearing signs, do you mean people like Damien and Sanson? Wait, then could those guys do what Sinclair did? Pull in some superpowered future self and just wreck everything? Even Sonya? I should step in and put an end to this discussion before Roger gets the blues. I don't think so. From what Ishmael and Foss reported back then. Right, Sinclair from the future said each sign carries a different power, I think. Maybe, you know, those layers of light rings Damien That's how I think you say his name, used to finish off Cromer, or Samson dragging us into his story. Those could be it. Aye, that does seem plausible. So none of that is information we can confirm yet. Correct. As you have stated, and any discussion of this subject would not venture beyond the realm of wild speculation. Nothing has been proven yet. Ergo, fear would be be an unnecessary response at present. This is, at best, grounded in supposition, and it would seem that the researchers are coaxing forth a hypothesis from the vestiges left in the wake of Sinclair's future self. Oh, that bit about the sign maybe being some singularity or whatever? Yeah. The precise position of the hypothesis was that the fundamental principles of the signs working may be equivalent to those of the singularities or relics. But as no actionable evidence was obtained from Sinclair, there is presently no means by which this hypothesis may be validated. I see. Then nothing came out of them dragging Sinclair off for that research. Oh, you also thought I was being dragged off, but still let it happen anyway? No, I mean... I'm just kidding. Just thought I'd try going along with the mood. The old Sinclair wouldn't have even thought to joke around like that. He's really changed lately. For the better, I think? So, did anything happen that we should worry about? Sat close to him just in case. Nothing serious came up. Just took some blood. Small scan sample. Oh, and they was also checking if the sign reacts to the electrical stimulation. Yeah, and had to fill out some questionnaires too. Things like, please describe what you remember from the battle exactly as it happened, or list the sensations you felt when you regained consciousness. And your memories of that moment have yet to return? No, I don't know if they'll ever come back, actually. Frost said they only exist for my future self, so... Wait, for my future self to even have those memories, shouldn't I carry them in the first place? Which comes first? A paradox, it would seem. In such case, that Sinclair is merely one branch among many possible futures. If the future unfurls into boundless branches by means of ceaseless bifurcation, then the body of information that constitutes a certain future would scatter into grains more fleeting than dust, to diminish to ever reverse their course and trace their path back to the self that now exists. Is that the theory suggested? Not a certainty, but a plausible interpretation. Here you go again. More of that nonsense only you lot understand. Oi, memory or not, that future guy still came out of him, didn't he? And some part of him has got to be left in there somewhere, yeah? Like a muscle memory or some whatever. Perhaps he can still pull off some of those tricks from back then. Tricks from back then? Heard you kicked off proper out there. Even pulled out that trick you picked up from that plastered old geezer, right? Not just that, he was using the Mang technique quite effortlessly too. What? That glowing ring thing? Yup, the glowing ring thing. He had two of them coiled around his weapon. I used the glowing ring thing? Why do they keep calling it that? I get that's literally what it looks like, but still. This is the first time I'm hearing anything about it. Alright, so what exactly is that glowing ring thing, anyone? Maybe some technique that enhances physical capability? I mean, I guess that flashy aura that makes it a real tough one part of it. But there's gotta be more, right? Don't know, could it be a secret finger thing they pass down to their members? Technique, gear, something like that. Look at it. That black Coney leader, that Lang Hang prick, and the nurse brothers we fought, whole lot of them M's finger, ain't they? The notion seems to unravel, for even among the LCD, where there were those who came to wield it. And Virgilius too. So what, only the proper hard bastards can use it? Some posh top-end trick, is it? While anyone in particular prompting it, the sinners slowly turned their gaze toward Virgilius and Vespa. Is Rose still eating? Ollie learned how to wield it from a team leader too. I have a sensory understanding of Shin, but I can claim nothing too profound. However, what I can spare are some rumors. though they are all without proper sources. Rumors? They circulated among elite fixers and association leadership that there exists a power called Shin, capable of enhancing the body without having to pay expensive upkeep costs. A rumor among fixers says Dao. Yes, even a technique to manifest it. How-to tips, really, spread through hearsay. Oh yeah, that tracks. That Super Rookie column in the latest mag bonus vid? Bro was really popping off with it. Shit up horrified with a shiny ring wrapped around the weapon. It must be that mine eyes are yet to be privy to seeing such a marvel in the video. Wait, you serious? It's in the latest issue, literally on the videotape in the back. Maybe you missed it? Video? Tape? Alas, for many a week have I been stranded from Mephi, raving me of a chance to read not only the prior chronicle, but the latest one as well. Woe is me. When I return, I shall feast through the night upon those noble exploits of adventuring fixers. As Don Quixote dramatically spiraled into a state of utter dejection, Otis cut into the conversation, her gaze narrowing with suspicion. From what I recall, the mentor of Shin grants its users a high degree of physical enhancement. There's no such thing as reinforcement without supplies. No power of that magnitude comes without an equivalent cost to wield it. That power relies on emotion and will for manifestation. Its output is not consistent like prosthesis and augmentation. And depending on how it is used, the consequence it demands can reach levels comparable to the ego you use. You mean to say that it exacts a toll upon the mind? How I sound like a question. I can walk you through the fundamentals if you like. From what I've observed, it appeared to be a technique reserved for those of considerable strength. At our current level, is it not unreasonable to assume we could make use of it? Regarding that, our team leader has been conducting intensive research. According to her, physical strength itself has little bearing on one's ability to learn to wield Shin. As the Yellow Harpoon says, it is, in essence, a power that can be learned by almost anyone, provided they know the proper method of training. Vesper's brows visibly twitched the moment Yellow Harpoon left Vergilius' lips. Yeah, doesn't seem like he's a big fan of his own title. The Yellow Harpoon. Well, it fits, I think. He's got those yellow stripes on his clothes, and he uses the harpoon, too. Can he argue with that? If I were to exaggerate, even Sinner Yi Sang's pre-contract self could manage to learn it. Why must this self of mine be chosen as the point of comparison? Well, because the wimpiest one here? Don't let it get to you. Even so, it'd be a mistake to assume it's a power anyone can grasp with ease. As long as you are bound by the contract as sinners, your ability to wield it will be severely limited, unless you rely on particular identities or come upon an extraordinary circumstance. Shame that. Would have been useful. Hey, then what about me? Can I learn it too? Kira, who had been fidgeting with her fingers, raised an arm and asked as though she couldn't hold the question back any longer. I'm getting comfortable real quick. Okay. Come to think of it, the middle nurse father didn't use any Shin or Ming. Papa never taught me how to use it. He always said I could get stronger without a stupid crutch like that. Ha! It wasn't that he didn't teach you, he couldn't. He was a man who probably had never once reflected upon his own sins. A piece of trash like him would be incapable of even comprehending such a power in the first place. Vespera's responses always come back dripping with venomous hatred whenever the conversation turns to the topic of the fingers. Kira must have noticed too, or perhaps she simply couldn't find the right words to push back. Either way, she held her tongue, her expression settling into a blend of frustration and something that looked a little too close to sadness. If you wanted to reduce it to a yes or no, then yes, you will be able to learn it with the odds in your favor. That is, assuming that the company decides to tolerate your continued existence. Now they said I get it. As it stands, you're nothing more than a pending case of disposal. Closer to a threat than you are to an ally, strictly speaking. Don't get comfortable because the manager and the sinners treat you with lenience. Step out of line, and you will be the one who pays the price. There was nothing in what Virgilia said that I could argue with. Kira had been a member of the House of Spiders. She murdered scores of LCE researchers, and left us with a plenty of memories we'd rather not revisit. For now, we're just working together. Not contesting that decision doesn't mean we have no hard feelings toward her. Leaving Kira alone with her thoughts, the sinners slipped back into their own business. Next, idle chatter and conversations about whatever had happened around LCE. The examination is concluded. I suppose it won't be an issue to let you hear the results together. And before we knew it, Hohenheim and Roshu returned. Dude. I could either keep going until like 1/3 is finished, or I'll probably stop here. I don't know. Because I did do mini 1. To present the conclusion first, no, the notion of the sword being a sentient one is incorrect. The locus of the will is not the blade, but the scabbard. An ego forged in a rather paradoxical nature, yes, that would be the most appropriate description. Not a sentient sword, huh? Roshu's grumpy dismissal made the scabbard quiver almost as if it had taken offense. Somehow, I felt like I could understand what Hohenheim meant by will now. It was a reunion of sorts, one that gave both a tinge of sadness and hope. The scabbard has its own will. Does that mean the owner of that will can be resurrected? It's too premature to deliberate on the matter. The state of existence under the question is not one that may be defined as death at the moment. I assume they ask whether it can be revived or brought back to life, so to speak. Even supposing that survival is a fixed variable, and that the reconstitution of the original corporeal body falls within the realm of theatrical possibility, the probability approaches zero given the limits of today's technology and conditions. We researchers are inclined to entertain even infinitesimal chances, but in the terminology of the lay people like yourself, such a prospect would be labeled impossible, wouldn't it? There is no need to fixate on the impossibilities of the present, Manager Dante. Such matters are reserved for us scientists to hold on to. Right. But we may have uncovered a thread, something that could lead to restoring Senator Roshu's memories. Though, again, that too is merely a possibility. A far more partial avenue for you to pursue at the moment, nevertheless. And to that end, yes, further analysis on the scabbard itself would be necessary. Coordinate with Alan for your next duty. We should still be in the Ring Nurse Father's quarters. That will be all. Hohenheim cut himself off there, clapping his mouth shut as if any further exchange might scatter and mess up the theories he constructed in our conversation. Alright then, before we go, anyone want to tag along? Mushing on food, averting their gaze, the senators were pretending they weren't interested at all. But going about the way that Fox had long since stopped moving, it was pretty clear to me that they'd been intently listening in on our conversation. Where are we to go? Right, sorry, forgot the rest of you weren't there with us earlier. Faust, Don Quixote, Roshu, and I have been checking where each back door leads. Oh, and Kira too. Prisoner of War, Executive Manager? We talking about me? Yeah, I guess. I'm working with them too, yeah. Best remember to tread carefully. Should you cause even the slightest harm to the executive manager, you'll be held accountable without exception. Yeah, sure, what else? Kira needled at Otis with a mocking pout, but oddly enough, she didn't appear particularly irritated. Anyway, I think it'd be better if we have a few more people, just to be safe. One of the doors we went to earlier led straight to the ring's corridor. That was a close call. Otis, of course your hand shut up first. But Heathcliff's hands shut up the moment I finished speaking. I would very much like to accompany you, executive manager. I knew I could rely on you, Otis. Heh, in recognition of my loyalty honors me, executive manager. I, Otis, understand better than anyone you're concerned about the peril of working with a prisoner of war so liable to betray. Not gonna lie, when I first saw Otis and stuff, I was just fine with her, but now I can see why people like her, and I'm also part of that crowd. But did I not read this? I feel like I did not read all of this. Otis, understand better than anyone you're concerned about the peril of working with a prisoner of war so liable to betray. To have your indispensable self proceed with only a handful of soldiers under your command. This cannot stand. I'm afraid I won't be able to focus on other duties without personally seeing to your safety. I get it, Otis. You made your point clear enough. Not keen on how I just killed over the moment you summoned me. Feels a bit dodgy, that. But I stick by your side and scrap it out myself. You probably don't need me to coming along then. I guess you can just summon the rest of us like you did earlier if shit hits the fan. Research yet unfinished holds my efforts. I shall join you once it has found closure. I don't think I can be much help wherever you're going. I'll pass. I will follow if that is your order, manager. No, it's fine. Just get some rest. I'll probably be okay. I can always summon them again if things get too dangerous. For now, I should go see Alan again. Oh. Well, I did say I was gonna end it, you know. So yeah,